We are live with another episode of BS Busters. Thank you for joining us. This is me, Mr. Red Fox, owner proprietor of BS Busters. Sir, I'm joined by the usual suspect. Sir, introduce yourself.
Hello, Scotia Bonito. Glad to be here on another one of these podcasts.
Glad to have you. What you been playing?
I played some Street Fighter 6 a couple days ago.
Yeah, I keep on wanting to get that every time it's on sale, and I keep on forgetting to get it, to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, oh man, it's only like $29.99 with all the DLC and the season passes, and I'm like, but I just don't. You know, something else comes up, and I'm like, I'd rather get this instead. Because the thing is, I don't play fighting games on PC enough to make it worth my while to get that game on PC. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
You know, I heard the single player though for that game is pretty damn good though.
Yeah.
Like you wandering around Metro City starting fights with any random person. I want that hot dog. That'll be $5. I only got one. I'll fight you for it. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's in Metro City, which I think is, you know, if you're a Final Fight fan, that means something to you.
Yeah.
Or a Captain Commando fan. Because Captain Commando takes place in, like, future Metro City. Which just proves, despite Mayor Mike Hager suspending all rules of habeas corpus and just going out on the streets with his daughter's boyfriend and his daughter's boyfriend's friend and beating the shit out of a street gang that took over the city, didn't really fix the crime problem. You know what I mean? If they made a game set like 80, 100 years in the future, Metro City's still a shithole. Yeah. And Captain Commando. But anyway, so what else you been playing, or is that just it?
That's pretty much just it.
All right. I have been playing the shit out of Fantasian Neo Dimension. I recently started a new playthrough of Saints Row 4. And then promptly got frustrated because Steam updated it to the Epic Game Store Unreal Engine 5 version, the port, which breaks all of the mods that I downloaded for it. So it wouldn't start, so I had to roll back my game to the legacy version that uses Unreal Engine 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone's like, oh man, Unreal. Everyone's switching over to Unreal. People forget that Unreal is not a great engine. It's widely used. It is not a great engine. As a matter of fact, Unreal is mediocre at everything. It's mediocre at frame rates. It's mediocre at image generation. It's mediocre at ray tracing. When I say mediocre, I don't mean bad. I mean it's just of median quality. It's a catch-all engine. It's like a better version of Unity. It's mediocre at physics. Why do you think games made in Unreal, like, and I know some people will be like, but Unreal is the industry standard. It's not. It's the industry standard because everyone uses it. Everyone knows how to use it. That doesn't mean it's a good engine.
Yeah.
Okay. Unreal's kind of shit, really, to be honest with you, in my humble opinion. Allow me to elaborate. Unreal is shit because, I mean, I played a game from Flying Wild Hog, okay? And it was called Shadow. Let me look it up. Flying Wild Hog. It was Shadow Warrior. All right. Now, they did Shadow Warrior 2, Shadow Warrior 3, Shadow Warrior, and Shadow Warrior is a remake of, or at least a, how can I put this? It is a heavily inspired by many things of an old DOS game that was built on the Doom engine. Was it the Doom? Yeah, or was it the? It was either the build engine, which is Duke Nukem, or the Doom engine. But anyway, and they made their own engine. Like Flying Wild Hog made their own engine.
Yeah.
From scratch. They made their own engine. It's amazing. So called the Hog engine or something like that. But anyway, and then they did Shadow Warrior, which I like. You know, I have that game. I really enjoyed the two Shadow Warrior games. And then Shadow Warrior 3 comes out, and they switch from their own proprietary engine to Unreal Engine 5. Guess what game ran like shit on my PC?
The Unreal Engine 5 version?
You got it. Give the man a prize. As Sam Jackson says, correctamundo. And here's the thing. I don't want anyone saying, oh, your PC's just weak. Listen, I recently upgraded my PC. I added more memory to it. I have 128 gigabytes of high hertz RGB memory. Okay? I have like the second top of the line memory graphics card, and I have the top of the line CPU that AMD came out with.
Yeah.
The hard drives that are my main hard drives on my PC are all NVMe M.2, like fast read write with heat sinks on them hard drives. Okay, I mean SD solid state drives. So it's not my computer. Okay, it's not the computer. It's the fact that this shit it's Unreal Engine 5, and Unreal Engine 5 sucks. But enough about that. Let's get to these topics. So, sir,
It's our first topic.
Our first topic is PC gaming is on the rise. The numbers of PC gamers has gone up, and there's some good PC games coming out. Like some legit, really good PC games coming out. So, with that being said, there's a list of PC games that were announced during the PC Gaming Show Most Wanted 2024. This happened last week, and it's a long fucking list. So I'll just announce the game, give a general idea about it, and whether we agree or disagree. All right, so first of all, they showed off Moonlighter 2. It's the sequel to Moonlighter, and before they announced the title, I'm like, this looks like Moonlighter. And then they're like, oh, it's Moonlighter 2. I'm like, I knew it. I was like, yeah, this is Moonlighter. This is totally Moonlighter. I was like, yeah, it's Moonlighter. I mean, for those of you who don't know what Moonlighter was this game where you played as a shopkeep who would go down into these dungeons in order to get items and equipment. That the items you could sell directly, and you could get the equipment you could sell directly, and the items you could use in order to like make other items or upgrade items you already had gotten in order to make them more powerful, in order to sell them for even more money. And it was one of those shop life simulators, but it also had dungeon crawling, and a lot of people liked it. I played it, I beat it. I was like, this is fine. But this one seems like it's more polished. It looks like a remake of the first game, except the first game was kind of like aping The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. This game is more 3D-ish, you know? So, thoughts?
Too many thoughts on this
All right. Well, how about this? We'll just talk about PC games that are coming to PC that you might be looking forward to. GTA 6!
Skeptical. Very skeptical of that game.
I mean, it can't be any worse than the last one.
Nah, that is true. That is true.
It can't be worse than GTA 5. Although GTA 5 was kind of bad. You know, people don't talk about how that game had so many issues. Like how it was poorly optimized on PC, or how it's set in San Andreas, and yet it's missing entire cities that were in the PS2 game. I don't know how you were able to have a more realized world space in a 6th gen game versus a 9th gen game, but sorry, 8th/9th gen game. But hey, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But honestly, you know, people will maybe finally wake up and realize that the rock star that's in there, that
In their memories.
non-existent, has long since died.
Yeah, that Rockstar doesn't exist anymore. Like the old Rockstar would have never let a scrub fucking company make a console version, a console remaster of the games that made Rockstar into Rockstar, and have it come out in the atrocious state it was in. The old Rockstar wouldn't have allowed that to happen. The new Rockstar doesn't give a shit. They were like, money. They're cheap. They can fix it post-production with patches. Because no one releases games to work outside of their initial release anymore. It's always, this is fucked up. Oh, we'll fix it with patches.
Yeah.
Which is like getting married, right? And you're like, oh, my wife or my husband, we won't be gender. My spouse, who I married, who we said sickness and health, death do us part, we'll only stay together. Well, it turns out that they lie about everything and they're sleeping around. Like the first night, the honeymoon, they left. They were out screwing other people, and they drained half the bank. They drained most of my bank account. But we can fix that in the next few months. I shouldn't leave immediately. We can fix this.
Yeah.
That's basically what they're selling us. And they expect us to take it. And we do. Because shit, even I bought that bullshit ass remaster.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even good. Like, it wasn't good. It wasn't a good remaster. And I know some people are going to be like, but Mr. Wesley, you just, it's like, look, understand this, okay? I am a huge GTA fan. I used to, when I was in college, I would play GTA San Andreas during the summer all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I would sit down and play the shit out of that game, okay? Now, with that being said, if I'm telling you, if I'm telling you that this game was fundamentally broken and had major issues, as much time as I logged into GTA San Andreas, which, in my opinion, San Andreas is like the best game in the 3D GTAs. 3, a lot of people like 3, but 3 had issues, like a lot of technical issues that kind of made it not work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, the airplanes didn't work in that game. The airplane didn't work in that game. The helicopter physics were trash. There was no central map to drive places. You had to basically memorize the entire fucking city. The camera controls were shit and the combat was shit. Vice City is a step forward, but you're still dying if you touch water.
Yeah.
And it takes place in basically the Rockstar version of Miami, Vice City, which is surrounded by water.
Oh yeah, I wonder why. I wonder why they did that. I don't know if they just didn't want to create swimming animations. They're like, we don't have time. We can't create swimming animations. If they jump in the water, they just die. It is what it is.
Well, it was a combination of that, and also you have to remember that the 2D GTAs that these games are based on, if you touched water, you died.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a feature of the games when they first started. That's just what happened. You touch water, you die.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's kind of like it's kind of like that's kind of like with the game. That was a feature of the game. Okay, and they kept it when it went 3D, but it didn't make sense for them to keep it when it went 3D because you had to be able to move in a third dimension, and water was a major part of those games. So then you get San Andreas, which San Andreas does something that we had never seen before. It added RPG content, RPG mechanics to the franchise, which made your CJ would be very different from someone else's CJ. Like, some people would play as a fat afro, wife beater wearing CJ, you know?
Yeah.
Some people would play. I always played as the suave, going with all the ladies CJ, because I was like, yeah, this makes sense for this character. He's gonna be a total player, womanizer, player, badass.
Yeah.
With the all my garages in the game that had vehicles would have I would steal the nicest vehicles. I would steal the nicest vehicles to have at my houses, at my stash, at my safe houses.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, that's. And why? Because it made sense for what I envisioned CJ to be in my head. But I don't think that franchise is gonna be what it is anymore, because I don't think Rockstar has any incentive to make games like that anymore, because they can release trash like GTA Online and people will spend money, real world money, on bullshit that is fundamentally flawed.
Yeah.
And they don't care. When it came out, I was like, please don't spend money on GTA Online, because it's going to take resources from the single player offline content. And people just said, fuck you, I want to play GTA with my friends. I'm like, so you want to run around? You want to run around beating up hookers and robbing people with your friends? I was like, I don't. It's like, why would I want to do that? That's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Why would you want to do that?
With my friend. That's how people get caught doing shit with their friends.
Yeah.
Shit, if you gonna do something illegal, do it by yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
So then, if someone says, "I saw you," didn't see me do shit because no one else was there.
Yeah.
But you know, that's my personal opinion. Any other games you looking forward to coming out next year?
Um. Shoot. No, I haven't really been paying attention to what's coming out in 2025.
Well, I guess it's up to me then. Okay, I have 3 more games I've been looking forward to. I know some people might get mad about this,
The
but
coveted
I don't care because it's my opinion. I've been looking forward to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I didn't enjoy the first game. I got it for free off of Epic, and I got the DLC, the Game Pass, not the game, the little season thing that gave you all the other stuff. And I played it, and I'm like, I'm not enjoying this, but I heard it was a good game, so I'm gonna try again. You know what I mean? With the new one.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that one is good. Avowed. I'm looking forward to that game. Doom, The Dark Ages.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. That game where you get to play the Doomslayer in the medieval times, killing demons. Yeah. Look, he won't stop killing demons. They can't stop him. They tried. He just won't go down. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I know a lot of people like Monster Hunter Wilds. I'm kind of like, I'm underwhelmed by that game. Not that I don't like Monster Hunter. It's just like when I was in college, I was addicted to playing Phantasy Star Online, and Phantasy Star Online scratches that same itch as Monster Hunter, the mainline Monster Hunter games, which is you go out to hunt down monsters to get loot drops, which you then bring back to make better weapons, to fight tougher monsters, to get better loot drops, to fight tougher monsters. It's a never-ending cycle of you just and I lived that when I was in college, so I don't want to do that again. So it's not that I don't like Monster Hunter. It's like I look at it like someone who used to be addicted to crack, and then someone shows me meth, and I'm like, I can't do that because I've already been addicted to something before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not gonna do it again.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my thing where I'm just like, nah, not gonna jump down that hole again. No, thank you. No, sir. Not at all. So yeah, I think we've belabored that point enough. Anything else you want to add before we move on to the next topic?
No.
All right. So a former Sony exec, I don't remember which one, said that eventually gaming will be platform agnostic, with Nintendo's going to be the last one to jump ship from consoles and dedicated hardware.
Yeah.
I agree with him.
Yeah, I agree as well.
I agree. The day Nintendo stops releasing their first party, hell, not even first party, their second party exclusives on their hardware, like it comes to PC as well, is the day that you know console gaming is winding down.
Yeah.
Because Nintendo's the only people who can release a platform exclusive and actually make money on it. Because Microsoft can't do it anymore. Sony can't do it anymore. Nintendo's the only company that can do it. They're like, oh yeah, Nintendo's like, yeah, we're dropping the next Legend of Zelda game. People will buy systems to play that game. We're dropping the next Mario game. People will buy systems to play that game. Sony dropped Ratchet and Clank, and like people didn't buy PlayStations to get Ratchet and Clank. People got a PlayStation, and they picked up Ratchet and Clank because it was there. but they weren't going out of their way to get a PlayStation 5 to play the new Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah.
I mean, I got it on PC because I'm cheap. And I don't want to necessarily... Well, at this time, I have all 3 of the 9th gen consoles. But at the time, I didn't have a PS5. So I was like, do I want to spend like $600 on a PS5? Well, $650 plus, well, $660 plus tax. Do you want to spend $660 on a PS5 plus another $60, $70 on a Ratchet and Clank game? So let's just say with an extra controller and extra memory card, $800. Do I spend almost closer to $1,000 to play Ratchet and Clank? And the answer was no. Survey says no. So
exactly. Why would you want to? Yeah, that's the nice thing about PC gaming. You don't have to wait very long for prices to drop.
Yeah, and even if they don't drop, there's things that you get more like if I get a game on PC, right? I can do so much more with that game on PC than I can on console. I have to play a game on console the way the console manufacturer wants me to play that game. So I'm going to have to play it with all the little proclivities and quirks that the developer wanted. I got Dragon Quest III, The Seeds of Hope, on PC. And I didn't like the music, so I changed it using a mod. I didn't like how the metal monsters would run away as soon as you looked at them. So I downloaded something that makes it a mod that makes it so that they're less likely to run away. Not ultra less likely, but it gives you a bit of more time to finish them off and get that experience boost. I was frustrated with how slowly my characters were leveling up, so I downloaded a mod that boosted the amount of experience you get from every encounter. And gold.
Yeah.
And I can do that because it's on PC. Console, I'm basically screwed. I got to take it any way they give it to me, whether it's good or not.
Yeah.
But, to each his own. You got any thoughts about it?
No, that's about all I have.
All right. So, next we're going to do the 10 best SNES RPGs of all time. They may have an article about it. Yeah, they do, which is great. Okay, so we're going to go over the 10 best SNES RPGs of all time. We'll agree or disagree. We've probably either heard of these games or played them. And also beat them. So next we're going with... So number 10, Lufia 2, Rise of the Sinistrals.
Lufia 2, I've never played this one.
Yeah, imagine a JRPG where... Instead of a normal JRPG dungeon where you just go through a dungeon that has themed monsters that are themed to that dungeon, and then you fight a boss and you get various treasure and then you leave. The dungeons were patterned more like The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, where you had to actually use tools in order to disarm traps, use push blocks, hit switches, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And inside of dungeons, it's a one for... you see the monsters on the map, and it's a one-for-one movement. So you move, they move. You move, they move. So you actually... Some dungeons, you have to trick monsters into trying to attack you. And moving and doing actions that cause them to step on switches so you can get doors open and trigger traps and stuff like that. It's actually a remarkably well-made game. The problem with the game is that the overworld is overly simplistic. Like, you go to a new continent or an island, there's a town, and then there's a dungeon next to the town. So the loop is town, dungeon, back to town, dungeon, back to town. Like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of like, oh, well, what's this mysterious thing right here? There's a certain point where the game opens up when you get the submarine, but beyond that, it's very linear in that regard. It didn't sell that well commercially, so it has insane prices. So I would advise, if you want to play this game, how can I put this nicely? Hey, that emu is running kind of late. Yeah. So that's number 10. Number 9, Terranigma. This is the third game in the Illusion of Gaia series. Starting with Soul Blazer, the second game being Illusion of Gaia, and the third game being Terranigma. It was supposed to come to the US. It never did.
Yeah.
And instead it was released in PAL regions.
Well, that's funny.
Yeah. It was translated into English. Like, I remember playing this game when I was a kid through emulation, and I was like, wow, this game is fully translated. It doesn't need, because back in the day, if you wanted to play Japanese or non-released in the US JRPGs, you had to wait for someone to patch it into English. This game didn't need a patch, which means it was fully translated, ready to go. But I think it was a late release, and Enix was like, we're not going to put this game on the SNES because the PlayStation is out now, and we'd rather put our energy into other shit. But it is really good. I like it. I give it 2 thumbs up. Ever heard of it?
Yeah, I've heard of it, but that's another game I haven't gotten a chance to play.
All right, that's fair. Next, we have Ogre Battle, March of the Black Queen. This game is a RPG, is a strategy RPG. It's like grand strategy, so you have armies going around. Not that bullshit like Final Fantasy Tactics or Ogre Battle Tactics, where it's like individual units moving around on an isometric map via squares. This is like grand armies going around marching against each other. And you make choices like who to send to liberate towns. If a town has a chaotic or has a lawful alignment, and you send a chaotic unit to liberate that town, instead of liberating it, they capture it, and that lowers your morality level. If you send a lawful unit to liberate a lawful town, they liberate it, which frees the people. So you kind of have to pay attention to alignment and the choices you make as the game goes on, which basically leads to there being like 25 different endings. And this was on the SNES. So this game is pretty goddamn good. If you don't want to play this game, if you're not into it, I would say go play, if you get a chance, go play Ogre Battle 64, also made by the same company, Quest Corporation. It's like a better version of this, but with less endings. There's like only like 6.
Yeah.
Okay, I know you've heard of this RPG, Breath of Fire.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
2.
I've heard good things about it.
It is. I used to say Breath of Fire 2 was the best Breath of Fire game, but having gone back, I would say 3 is better. 3 is like they took the best parts of 1 and 2, combined it together, and they made Breath of Fire 3. Like, it has the town building. It's not as good as the second game. It has the dragon abilities, but it's not as broken, as nerfed as it is in Breath of Fire 2. But Breath of Fire 2 is pretty goddamn good. The only problem, like I said, is that the game is the dragon transformations are fundamentally broken, like they were nerfed. So like your main character is a half dragon, half human, and the central conceit of Breath of Fire is that your character can turn into a dragon. Your main character, who's always named Ryu, his default name is Ryu. He in the previous games, it was broken because the dragon whelp was supposed to do, depending on which form you transformed into, was supposed to do elemental damage. It didn't, but it didn't really matter because as you got more party members, you were able to take down tougher enemies. And the difficulty curve in the first Breath of Fire starts out really hard because it's just you. And by the end of the game, once you have a full party, you're just steamrolling enemies. Even the final boss is a joke. Breath of Fire 2's changed that by making it not only do you not do elemental damage based on what you transform into, but you use all of your MP when you transform into a dragon. All of it.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So in order for you, and your damage is proportional to how much MP you use. So if you use all your MP, you do, like if you transform into a whelp, you do 512 damage. If you transform into an adult dragon, you do like 700 something. And it's like, this is not, no. Because the whole point of turning into a dragon is that you can do elemental breath attacks that do elemental damage to certain enemies. Certain enemies have take the elemental damage. It's like, oh, that's a wooden enemy. Let me turn into a fire dragon and do fire-based damage to a wooden enemy so it does extra damage. Not in this game.
That's crazy.
But aside from that, Breath of Fire 2 is a phenomenally good game. One of the best games in the series, aside from some technical issues. But which is why I would say if you're going to play this game, I would say play it any way you can with a patch that fixes some of the technical issues. Dragon Quest V, Hand of the Heavenly Bride. I would say I personally prefer Dragon Quest 6 a little bit better. But Dragon Quest V is pretty goddamn good. Yeah. It's published by Enix. Secret of Mana, number 5.
Secret of Mana, yeah, that's a pretty good game too.
AKA Seiken Densetsu.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to get this game, but I don't want to spend $79 getting the deluxe bundle with all the other stuff with it.
Yeah.
I'm like, Square Enix, you legit are charging people $80 for a Secret of Mana game. Are you fucking insane? Whatever. Yeah. Like maybe $50, not $79.99. No. Super Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars. This game needs no introduction. It's Super Mario RPG. Okay?
Yeah, classic.
It's a classic.
It's really easy to get into, and it's really fun to play.
Yeah. The only negative that I would hit on this game is if you're used to playing harder RPGs, it's a little too easy.
It is a little too easy.
Even the secret final boss Culex is like kind of easy. So
even compared to like the earlier Paper Mario games, it's easier than I would say it's easier than those games.
I mean, it's easier than. I would say it's easier than the first Paper Mario. The first Paper Mario is pretty goddamn easy too.
Yeah, but fairly easy if you just want.
I mean, Thousand Year Door can get kind of hard.
Yeah, especially if you want to do that like special bonus thing at the end of the game where you have to go through. Was it like 99 floors?
Oh, the Pit of 100 Trials. I mean, I kind of never had a problem with that because I like grinding. So I used the Pit of 100 Trials as a way to grind to have a higher level when I went to the final dungeon. Because once you get to a certain level, the enemies in the last like 10 levels of the Pit of 100 Trials are the only way you get any viable experience. And once you get to a certain level in that game. and you fight Bone Tail, which is Hooktail's sister.
I'm also thinking because when I saw somebody play it, I I came across a or a challenge run. They glitched to play the Pit of 100 Trials at level 1.
Yeah, but that's people doing weird. I mean, like if you're playing it the way the game was meant to be played, it's like that's people doing some weird shit as a challenge.
Yeah.
Like normally, I would say Thousand Year Door is the hardest Paper Mario game just because some of the time to attacks for some of the special attacks are a little like, ugh, it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
Um, some of the bosses are like, in order to do perfect counters where you basically counterattack instead of just like blocking the attack or dodging the attack, like shit like that is what I'm saying. Like it's harder. The original Super Paper Mario is kind of, I mean, Paper Mario is kind of easy. It's on the easier side. And then the series Sticker Star is a joke. But we're talking about. I haven't played the re-release of Super Mario RPG. I think I should one day do that, but I've been busy. Earthbound, number 3, developed by HAL. It did well in Japan, didn't do well here in America. I know because I talked my parents into buying that $90 cartridge with the big ass box with the scratch and stiff stickers that smelled like vomit and puke and cheese. And I still have my original copy, and I can tell you right now, Earthbound's one of my favorite games, but I can see why it didn't do that well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would love to see a sequel, a direct sequel to Earthbound, and I even thought of a way to do it. You basically make the original kids in Earthbound, like, you treat Earthbound like it's It, like It Part 1, It Part 2, and you do the sequel to Earthbound with Jeff, Ness, Paula, and Pooh as adults, but they treat what happened when they were kids like a dream until they find that Pokey has gone into the future, and they have to go into the future and defeat Pokey once and for all, jumping through time, and in the process saving their own future because they find out that Porky has been basically he's been messing with time in order to get a favorable result in his favor, at the detriment of everybody else. I think that could make a wonderful game. Number 2, Final Fantasy 3/6.
Yeah, that could be pretty cool.
Yeah. I agree. Final Fantasy. Yeah, Final Fantasy 3, Final Fantasy 6. Final Fantasy 6 is fucking amazing.
Yeah, that's Final Fantasy at its peak.
I mean, it may be the best Final Fantasy ever made.
Many people will scream and shout to heavens, but no, that's peak Final Fantasy. It's Final Fantasy 6.
Yeah. I mean, I say it's split between 6 and 4. 4 has the tighter story.
Yeah.
But 6 has the tighter gameplay.
Yeah.
So it just depends on, do you prefer story versus gameplay? So it just depends on how you roll it. Anyway, last game. Well, we know what the last game's going to be. We know what the number 1 best RPG on the SNES is. Say it with me, Kadoshi. Chrono Trigger. Yeah, Chrono Trigger. It's Chrono Trigger. It's Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger is one of the best JRPGs ever made. Not SNES RPGs, JRPG period. It is what if someone asked me how do I make a good RPG, I would say go play Chrono Trigger and emulate what they did. You won't surpass what they did, but you'll have a pretty solid fucking game. And it's just so damn perfect. You had all these people firing on all cylinders. You had Yasunori Matsuda, the guy who did the music. You had Yuji Horii. You had Akira Toriyama's Armor Bird Studio do the characters. You had Final Fantasy creator Hironobu Sakaguchi involved. Like, basically, it's imagine if you had the greatest jazz musicians of all time come together to collaborate on an album. That's Chrono Trigger. Yeah. It's like you had people who were at the peak of their skills or hungry to prove themselves coming together to make a game. And I'm going to tell you something else. The definitive version of Chrono Trigger, the cartridge version, because the one on the PlayStation had fucking loading times. It loaded for everything. You go into battle, it loads. You open the menu, it loads. You save, it loads. You go to a new screen, it has to load. Everything load. So I don't want to hear that shit. I played it on the PlayStation. It's not that good. You played the shitty version of Chrono Trigger. Yeah. You should have played it on the SNES. And I'm gonna say the SNES version's even better than the fucking DS version, because guess what? The DS version adds all that fucking Radical Dreams. Chrono Cross shit to connect it to that shitty ass game. And no, I don't put Chrono Cross that high up there. Matter of fact, I think it's shit. Enough of that. See, do our viewers have anything to say about that? Nothing. All right, so I guess we'll move on to the final topic, which is hot take and free topic. Do you have a hot take or free topic you would like to bring up, sir?
No, not this week.
All right, I have a hot take.
What's that?
My hot take is this. Gaming is not what it used to be. It is not what it's been for a long time. I'm not one of those people who want gaming to go under or for people to lose their jobs or anything like that. Okay? Yeah. That being said, that being said, I personally, I personally want to, there needs to be a wake-up call for gaming. Yeah. You know what I mean? Something's got to give, for lack of a better term. And that's all I'm saying. But that's my opinion. So, anything else before we wrap things up?
No, just enjoy your games and have a good week.
All
The
right.
year's almost over,
It
and
is.
yeah.
Yeah, we will have one more cast this year. That'll be on the 18th. So, yeah, we'll have one more cast this year. That'll be on the 18th. I'm gonna try and make that into a questionathon for those of you who watch this channel. If you would like to leave any questions for us to answer for the questionathon, you can reach me via the Discord, or you can reach me via the channel email, which is in the description section. So, yeah, leave some questions. We'll have a questionathon, wrap out the year. We will not be back until next year. So we'll probably have a cast. Let's see what day. We'll probably have a cast uh, either New Year's or the week after New Year's, depending on what goes on. Anyway, we might take 2 weeks off. Yeah, we won't do New Year's. We'll do the week after New Year's. So you won't see us until the 8th. All right.
All right.
So with that being said, that's in the cast. Rate, comment, share, subscribe, play your games, and etc. 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 Oh, I do have one unpopular opinion. This isn't about video games. I binged all of Superman and Lois. What's that? What's it called? Yeah, Superman and Lois, all 4 seasons. And I'm gonna tell you right now, Tyler Hoechlin is a better Superman than Henry Cavill will ever hope to be. Because the people who made that game actually understood who Superman is and what he's about, versus making emo, whiny, bitch ass Superman that Zack Snyder did.
Yeah, people have been trying to make a gray-esque Superman for years. Too.
Dark, edgy Superman. It's like Superman doesn't work if he's dark and edgy.
Yeah.
That's not the point of the character. You know? Like Superman, like the end of Superman and Lois, Superman dies, goes to heaven, and he sees Lex Luthor. And Lex Luthor, like Superman's like gonna meet his wife and his kids and like his loved ones. Lex Luthor's alone. Like he's just alone. And even Superman died, he's still Superman. He goes up to him and he sits down next to him and he starts talking to him. Even in death, Superman's still trying to reach out and help people.
Yeah.
That is what Superman's about. Don't make a fucking Superman movie where Superman's killing people and snapping people's necks and destroying the city. Not trying to take the fight out of the city. And then say, oh, well, that makes it realistic. You have people running around flying with their underwear on backwards with a cape on. And a dude who dresses like a giant bat. There's nothing about this shit's realistic.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just so, yeah. I mean, you have to, obviously when it comes to that, you have to a certain degree, suspend at least suspend disbelief, and then at the same time embrace the comic book nature, the sort of silliness of the comic book aspect of it.
I mean, I understand that, but I mean, you have things. They basically want to turn these characters into something that they fundamentally aren't.
Yeah.
Like they want to turn Superman into a mass murderer. They want it'd be like if you watch the Captain America, right? Well, Captain America just says, "Fuck it, I'm gonna be a fascist." Captain America fights fascism. It's literally like he literally came about during World War II. He fights fascists.
Yeah.
So for him to be a fascist, unless you were doing a storyline where he's been brainwashed or it's a fake Captain America, like you better have a damn good story writing to have a heel turn like that.
Yeah.
Whatever. Whatever. Anyway, that was my hot take. I'm done. That's the end of the cast. Once again, if you guys would like to be a part of the cast or anything like that, you can reach me at mrredfoxbsbusters, etc., etc. That's it. Peace.
Peace.